Hey everybody, I'm Andy.
Hi, I'm Tanya. Welcome to Lappy Mountain Living.
Happy to see you guys here. We're going to, if you want, we're going to take you along on all of our adventures and projects.
Shit and shenanigans.
This channel is going to be heavy on metalwork. So if you hate metalwork, not the place for you, right?
Sure, but if you like cooking, art, chickens,
Gar-
dogs,
Gardening,
cats, gardening,
tractors,
bike riding,
then maybe this is the place for you.
so hang out, see what happens.
Hope you enjoy our show. That booze totally loosened you.
Got it, Tanya.
I'm getting ready to take my 4-jaw chuck off and put my 3-jaw chuck on. Okay, so are you going there? Okay, so this right here, this thing, this is me exposing my soft underbelly to ridicule from the internet. Right there. That's like the most embarrassing thing I've ever done. But I was in a hurry, and there it is, doing its job. Like I know what you're doing back there. Got to move my tool post over here. Reason is this is a lathe mill drill, it's called. And so it's got a really big cross slide on it, much bigger than a regular lathe would have. So this becomes a milling table when you're doing milling. So because of that, when I want to use my tailstock to drill holes and stuff, this will interfere with this if it's here. But if I put this over here, then this can reach easier. You'll see. So we got to do a couple things here. We got to get our tool bit exactly on center height by adjusting this thing up and down, the tool holder. We'll adjust the tool holder up and down to get the center exactly right. Then we have to get it exactly straight this way. So we'll dial that in and tighten it down so that we know that we're not shaving off one side or the other. So I'm just going to set this tool up. Then we're going to take a turning tool out. We're going to face it off, center drill it, turn the outside down to the diameter we need. Then we'll put our groove in. So I picked up the center height of the whole lathe. I picked that up off of the live center in the tailstock. And now I'm going to transfer that over to the tool bit and get that at exactly the right height. Just got to figure out where to put this stupid thing. So now I'm going to dial the quick change tool post. I'm going to dial it in so that this tool's perfectly straight, not cutting at an angle. There. So it's at the right height. perfectly straight. That'll do what I want. So now I'm going to set up a turning tool and a facing tool, get them to the right height, and then we can start carving this thing out. So I'm going to clean up the face, square it up and so on, and we'll be able to see how good of a job I did on the height of this. If this leaves a little nub behind, then it's not correct, and I'll have to adjust it. So if you look in there, you can see it left the tiniest little nub behind, which is fine. I just have to be careful when I start center drilling it that I don't go hammering into that, or it'll bend my center drill over and possibly break it. So now I know where I want to stop my cut as I'm turning this down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this dial up so that the carriage hits the dial about 100 thou before I want to stop. That way I can just stop it every time on the 0. That's where I want it to stop. So as I'm coming along, carriage hits the dial, boom, I stop it on the 0. And that way I can stop at the same place every time. Well, I was, yeah, that's sure. So I was going to turn down enough of this bar for one piece and then drill it and groove it and saw it off and then face it. But I think just to speed things up, what I'm going to do is I'm going to center drill this now. I've got a good end. I'm going to center drill it. Then I'm going to pull this whole bar out. I'm going to turn the whole bar down to the diameter I need for all the parts I'm making. And then just whatever little nub I'm hanging on to will still be the bigger diameter. I'll saw that off in the bandsaw, and then I can start putting the grooves in and drilling the holes, and it'll just be quicker. So a little change of plan. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm taking out the drill chuck. I'm going to put in the live center. Bring my tailstock in. Bring my part out. I'll just hang on to it by that much. I have to leave enough room here for this. Of course, I want to stop before I hit the jaws of the chuck. So I'm going to do the same thing I showed you with the dial earlier. you're going to increase the feed rate a little bit. Maybe get some smaller chips. Take up less room. There we go. Look how small these chips are now. They're going to take up much less room. Like room in the chip pail is what I mean by take up less room.
Yeah.
It's hot. I'm going to set it up in the saw and just cut this carrier, I'll call it, off. So here's our part. I'm just going to deburr it, both ends of it, and then we'll throw it back in the lathe, put the groove in it, drill the hole, and then saw the first part off. Give me a minute. You're not going yet. You are going? Why don't you just give me a minute? Why don't you turn it off? Give me a minute. So what I'm doing now, I'm just figuring out when I touch my grooving tool that we made off of this face, how far to move it to get to the center of this groove. So I put some marker on there. What I'm going to do is with the chuck spinning, I'm going to come in and just touch it, just so it just takes the marker off, and then I'm going to come out. I'm going to set a 0 on my dial. I'm going to come over the 7/16. I'll do a quick check to make sure that I'm where I think I want to be, and then I'll start the grooving. Just touching. I need to set my dial right there. That should be the center of my groove. And so now this should measure 0.175 plus 0.0125, which is half the 25 thou. So that'd be 0.1875. So I'm just going to set my caliper to 0.1875 and make sure that it looks like it's in the right spot. Super hard to see. Yeah, bang on. Dead nuts, right where I want to be. So now I'm going to set a 0 on my dial. That's the center of my groove. And I'm going to do some plunging in and then a little moving over to both sides. I know that my finished groove, I'm going to want to be 12.5 thou either side of my 0 when I do my final cleanup. Now I'm just figuring out from when I touch with the grooving tool, I want to set a 0, and I'm calculating right now how far I'll turn on my dial to get to the bottom of my groove, which is super easy. I know what the outside diameter is. I know what the inside diameter of the groove is. Divide that by 2. Now I know the depth of feed that I'm going to go in to get to the bottom of my groove. Let's go get her done. Set my 0. That's just great. Let me put the tailstock in there. I'll put this. There we go. Happy. I'm going to stop a little shy of where I believe I should be, just so I can double check my diameter at the root of the groove and make sure that I'm not going too deep or too shallow, or I go calling it good. So it's 212.5 thou where I'm supposed to go. I'm going to go 200 thou and see how she looks. 30 thou to go. 20 thou to go. So that should be 200 thou. I should be 25 thou over my finish size, so that would be 475 thou is what I should be at right now. So let's see how close we are to that. Look at, you see that? I mean, I'm not even faking nothing like that. It's freaking dead nuts. So now that we know our depth is exactly bang on, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come my 12.5 thou the one way, go my 212.5 thou deep, come out, go my 12.5 thou the other way, go my 212 thou deep, and then I'll do a little scrape across the bottom, going from 12.5 on one side of 0 to the other 12.5 on the other side of 0. If that makes any sense. So there's my 0. I don't know if you can see this, but I'm going to my 12.5 thou that way. Oop, oop, oop. Now I'm going to come in to my 212 thou deep. There's first 100 thou. You see it's just scraping off one side now. There's 200 thou, so now I'm going to go that additional 12.5 deep. Right there. Boom. Now I'm going to come my 12.5 thou the other way. And then again. First 100 thou deep. So we were going for 275 wide. I don't know if you can read the dial there, but I'd say we nailed that. And we were going for 450 here. I know you can't see that, but we nailed that as well. So it's all good. So I'm just going to do a little deburring. Get rid of any sharp edges. This is a part for a cable tensioning gauge. Last thing you want is sharp edges. I'm just going to run some emery on the bottom of that groove, shine it up a little bit. So you can get in there and look if you like. I'm pretty happy with that. It's a nice finish. Now we're going to drill our hole. There's a bolt that holds this, a 1/4-inch bolt that holds this thing onto the rest of the device. I put some tape on there so I knew where I wanted to stop drilling, because I don't have a massively extra amount of material here. I'd prefer that my hole here doesn't go into where the next piece is going to be, because I want that hole to start like from scratch, fresh, with a fresh center drilled hole. We'll come back later and countersink that. Once I get all the pieces made, get the countersink in the chuck, I'll countersink all of my ends of both holes. So now I'm going to saw it off slightly over length, and then later I'll face it to exactly the right length back in the lathe. And so I'll saw it off at 7/8. 7/8 and a little bit, just in case it's as out of square as my out of square eyes think it might be. Should be fine. So I've turned it around, and I'll let you get in here. I've turned it around. The saw cut end is facing out now. So what I'm going to do is take a minimum skim off that face right here just to clean it up. Then I'll get a measurement. Then I'll set my dial up, and I'll know how far I have to move to get this the proper dimension. Okay, so now I'm gonna do a little deburr there. And then I'm going to throw a countersink in there and deburr that hole, both ends, and then this piece is done. So now I'm gonna deburr the hole on the other side. And there's one part done. Polish it up just a tiny bit, blow it out, but otherwise, there it is. Metalwork. 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 Metal. Work.